Awesome homage to the classic Bond in the barrel motif. Plus that one ray of light illuminating part of his face. Beautiful.
I have to stop the bleeding.
Under 2 minutes in, and M gives us the overarching theme of Skyfall, and Bond proves that he's the tool Silva will accuse him of being later. Or Rat, I guess. Great shot and sound design transition. Up to this moment, we had no idea this was Istanbul. This scene of failure could have been anywhere. Abuja, Prague, Hartford, literally anywhere.
We're sending an emergency evacuation squad.
They'll be too bloody late.
And now we're getting to see Bond's frustration with the realities of his job, and more of the theme of this movie. Tight setup, Mr. Mendez.
It's all right. You ain't using it.
Bond burn.
Wasn't using that one either.
Ooh, and this new agent just gives it right back to him. I bet this one becomes his new field partner, completely shifting the tone of Bond going for. Oh. That's sort of like teamwork. Double drum mag, eh? Even the goons are trying their best to keep it to pistols. Dang, that's impressive. I might have tried it too, but then I'd be driving straight to the hospital after. Rooftop bike chase? I'll never forget this scene because I watched it with a buddy who was high on life at the time, and he just kept saying, nope, nope, not possible, during this entire chase scene. And while he wasn't wrong, it's still awesome. Bonus points to the bizarre bystanders for getting out of the way. If I were there, there'd be a Lee-shaped stain on the floor of the market. Maybe he knew the end of the train was too far, and so he had to jump with the bike. But plan A, being smash your motorcycle into a steel guardrail, is an interesting choice. Still, look at that composure. Oh, and the bike's totally fine. Fun fact, a lot of construction equipment, especially forestry machines like feller bunchers, have bulletproof glass since they can send wood chips and rocks out at high speeds. And depending on what this excavator is used for, it's entirely possible it does too. Oh, I guess this one isn't. Yeah, those are some really weak tie downs and binders on this train. But hey, Bond is actually using the correct levers to walk the excavator forward. Yep, quick thinking. Ha, the Bond theme is signaling that this, walking out over the boom of the excavator to get to the other train car, is the most Bond thing he's done so far, and I don't disagree. I mean, look at him. And he's got to check on those cufflinks.
I can't, I may hit Bond. Take the bloody shot.
Damn, Judi Dench, that's cold. Although I do give her credit for trying.
I'm gonna lose them. Can you get into a better position?
And this fall, you can feel the air and the impact of this dead weight drop. And I love that while this entire cold open is about Bond trying to recover the list from whatever happened during this mission, it's all leading to this moment on the train, on the bridge, for his fall from the sky. His Skyfall. What a seamless transition into the opening credits. Maybe the best one ever? Dead Bond getting pulled into the depths like some Goblet of Fire failure? And just the idea that the entire title sequence could be Bond's fever dream from being shot is pretty fun. Writing and performing a Bond theme has got to be challenging, and dang it, Adele knocks it out of the park. Definitely in the top 5, and the visuals cut to Skyfall when she sings it. I mean, she's also given away the entire movie here. And is this a reference to Silva's face being all eaten away by cyanide?
You've had a great run. You should leave with dignity.
Oh, to hell with dignity. I'll leave when the job's done.
Great line whether you're running MI6 or changing diapers. Dignity is pretty much out the window when there's a job to do. Yeah, that's an appropriate facial expression. Pro move right there. Even in the throes of passion, Bond puts out a hand so she doesn't destroy her back. Also, Bond's alive. Nope. I like whiskey as much as the next guy, but nope. Oof, the way the crowd noise fades out to Bond's lonely reality. Oh, right, Roger Deakins. That's why this shot is this shot. M thinking on her sins as she was instructed. Somewhere between see what you have wrought and hey, she cares about him. This dude is always hiding in the shadows, even when he isn't Bond.
Where the hell have you been?
Even though it's implied she genuinely thought Bond was dead, she always knew he'd come back. As if death is just another poor excuse she won't accept for not showing up to work. Lazy younger generations lying about postcards.
You didn't get the postcard?
I made a judgment call.
You should have trusted me to finish the job.
Ha! Not mad he got shot, mad that he didn't get to complete his mission. Classic Bond. First half hour does a solid job of selling dead Bond. So, Bond kicks butt at pretending like none of the tests were strenuous, but it makes sense that the one thing really pushing him over the edge is using the shoulder for pull-ups that still has bullet pieces in it. But this moment is when you really see that perhaps Bond isn't keeping it together as well as we'd thought. Shooting people is kind of his thing.
Skyfall. Done.
Bit of a Rosebud moment here. Childhood trauma spares no man. All we can see is a silhouette, and yet we know he's realized something? Acting. A few things here as well. I don't think Bond has been training much, so it took him this exertion to realize that there were still fragments in his scar, and also I love that it wasn't a moment of, hey, so that's why my aim was so off. It was, sweet, a new lead.
For her eyes only.
For her pawns only.
I'm the one who should say sorry.
There's only 4 ribs. Some of the less vital organs. Nothing major.
Forgiveness?
The whole office goes up in smoke and that bloody thing survives.
Your interior decorating tips have always been appreciated, 007.
M's got jokes.
Perhaps you can't see it, or maybe you won't.
What exactly are you implying?
You're sentimental about him.
I mean, of course she is. He's James Bond, and she's seen him be two completely different people, but also, guys, he's still in the room.
Grand old warship being ignominiously hauled away for scrap. The inevitability of time, don't you think?
Really slamming the theme into our faces, huh?
I'm your new quartermaster.
Bears can't type on keyboards. Sleep, Paddington.
You must be joking. You still have spots.
Paddington doesn't have spots, he has a hat.
Every now and then a trigger has to be pulled.
Okay, Ben Whishaw is great as Q, but imagine how much better this film would be if it was actually Paddington as quartermaster. That's the Bond movie we all deserve, especially Patrick Willems.
Were you expecting an exploding pen?
No, they never are. Boris just got lucky. See, like I said, all you had to do was get that shrapnel out. There's something really fun about Bond just chilling in this high-rise waiting for instructions. I can see why Archer treats his expense account the way he does. And obviously Daniel Craig's workout routine. Of course, this scores the Wally guy, Thomas Newman. When you're feeling pumped about the cool gun your new bestie Paddington gave you, only to look up and realize the guy you're trailing just killed somebody. Whoops, I should be killing people. Parkour that Ethan Hunt stole later. It's a testament to Bond's skill level that he's doing all of this while wearing the worst possible shoes for the job. Bond is so nonplussed about the assassination, it feels like he must be thinking, I wouldn't have ruined the painting. Especially since that painting, Woman with a Fan, was stolen in real life 2 years before this movie, and clearly they're using this movie's production to smuggle it. Come on. 25-second long take with this imperceptible push-in ending on Bond holding Patrice over the edge. The entire thing in silhouette. I mean, they could be slapping each other with Fluffernutter Sammys and it would look dope.
Who are you working for?
But also this entire sequence is phenomenal. Those are the only words spoken from the time Bond gets to Shanghai in this entire 9.5 minutes. Otherwise, it's just a silent cat and mouse game. Newman's score is fantastic throughout and leads us along behind Bond, who truly makes this scene possible. Craig Bond, from dang it, I lost the guy, to how you doing in under 10 seconds. M continuing the long tradition of boomers and olders clicking on stuff they very obviously shouldn't click on. And it has one view. She may have published the video by clicking on it. And I'll tell you what, Silva should count himself lucky that he's only causing the deaths of 5 undercover agents and not playing 3 seconds from some copyrighted material while using it for fair use. Rimshot. This video's getting claimed. Macau. Macau looks tight. Love a brightly lit night landscape. Plus, it's fun to say, Macau. Which farm animal is your favorite? Macau.
And Q's afraid of flying.
Of course he is.
Why don't you chill, James? Bears and raincoats like to keep their feet on the ground.
Are you putting your life in my hands again?
Pretty smart of them. Vulnerability like this would go a long way for both of them to trust the other. Same way Sweeney Todd gains your trust.
Lieutenant Colonel in Northern Ireland Hereford Regiment. Spent 3 months at the hands of the IRA.
Meaning Mallory was in Special Forces and was captured by the IRA during a time, we can assume due to his age, that things were extra terrible in Northern Ireland. It wasn't called the Troubles for nothing. In other words, Mallory has cred, so he means it when he says,
Don't cock it up.
hey, now that's an entrance. That's a James Bond right there. Ooh, well done slipping the main title theme into the score there. Chekhov's Komodo Dragon.
Evening.
Don't touch your ear.
I can see why Bond works alone. Everyone else sucks.
You don't scrub up so bad yourself.
Well, it's amazing what one can do with an extra pair of hands.
You're telling me.
What? She must have washed his back for him. Does it ruin all the flirting? Maybe. Or maybe she's been there, done that. They're on equal footing. They love to flirt and have great chemistry. I will say that Mendez intended to keep the relationship staple of them not having been together, but what do you call this? Look at this Steadicam shot showing us the casino while keeping both Bond and even frame at all times. And these two are always bouncing off each other. The freaking chemistry. Get you someone who looks at you the way Bond looks at alcohol being shaken.
Perfect.
I am correct in assuming you killed Patrice.
Yes.
Has Bond just killed so many people that he doesn't remember that he actually was trying to save Patrice from falling? STDs can do a number on your cognitive functions.
Bring me to him.
Can you kill him?
Someone usually dies.
Oof. Bond pointing at the Komodo dragon. Bond jumps off buildings, blows stuff up, kills all kinds of people, but big lizards? That's where he draws the line.
Good luck with that.
Could have been worse. Could have been Blade's sword or Dredd's lawgiver. That's pretty bad. Chekhov's Komodo dragon going off. What the? Nope, no to that. She's a former child sex slave and he sneaks into her shower? I get that, like, she's waiting for him, hoping for him even, and he could be her savior from Silva. And also, Bond is apparently catnip to every living creature on Earth, but still, nah. Here's a much better shower scene where Bond is a decent human.
Whoever's behind this, whoever's doing it, he knows us. He comes from the same place as Bond.
Clairvoyance. Man, the use of color grading is something else. The entire Macau sequence is yellow and golden with extremely warm lighting. Shanghai was primarily blues and greens with stark, cool lighting, and it's seeing Silva's compound completely devoid of color, or filled with every color from the light spectrum, making white depending on how you look at it, that you realize each location has its own specific tone and ambiance.
And one by one, they start eating each other.
This is why you make Javier Bardem a Bond villain. That sound right there. And what a wonder introduction to Silva. We immediately know it's Javier because of his voice, but as he walks closer, we see he's blonde, and eventually that something just looks very off about him.
Hong Kong.
86 to 97.
If Silva was working for MI6 in Hong Kong in 97, I wonder if he ever bumped into Lin. Or Brosnan Bond for that matter. I mean, at the very least, he'd have some opinions about Elliot Carver.
See what she's done to you.
Well, she never tied me to a chair.
Her loss.
Flirting.
Well, first time for everything.
What makes you think this is my first time?
Oh, Mr. Bond.
James Bond is bi confirmed. Really, the best part about this is Silva's response. Well, let's be real, this should be a surprise to nobody. And even if you don't like that, this is exactly what James Bond would say in this situation to disarm an opponent.
50-year-old McAllen.
50-year-old McAllen? So the same age as Dr. No? Well, that sucks. 3 Craig Bonds in a row now that kill a or the Bond girl. And Severine's hits even harder since her backstory is so tortured. 2 things. I honestly give the writers credit for not giving her some kind of moment where she betrays Bond to make her murder sit better because, nah. Feel it. This is what this movie is about, collateral damage of some greater cause in the fallout. In this case, the cause was literally Silva's dumb riddle that never specified you had to shoot the whiskey? And that leads me to the second thing, Skyfall Bond is a different Bond. After trying to save Ronson and then dying himself, Bond watches a lot of people get killed in this movie and does very little to prevent it. I'm not saying that he could have saved Severine, just that, well, he's not okay, and that's been clear from the time Vesper died.
I win. What do you say to that?
It's a waste of good scotch.
What the Bond? I get that you've got a part to play here and it's another way to disarm and put them at ease, but stop. Stop that. Hey, but at least he murdered almost everyone else with ease in a satisfying way. Aw, family reunion. It's the one she left to die and the other one she left to die.
Regret is unprofessional.
Starting to see where Bond gets his whole I'm obviously lying about all my feelings and emotions thing.
Life clung to me like a disease.
Well, congratulations to the writers of Skyfall, because I'm pretty sure the phrase life clung to me like a disease is gonna haunt me forever. If you don't know about the very real, very creepy history of cyanide pills and espionage, I can't recommend enough that you don't go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole at 2 a.m.
The sensitive information is contained.
So it's a job well done.
So in this scene, forget about Narcissa Malfoy and we just want pure Dolores Umbridge. I'm not saying she's wrong, she's being a jerk about it, but not wrong.
Go in on that. Remember,
Is he 007 or John Nash?
use that as a key.
Is he 007 or Crash Override?
The actors.
That wasn't very zero cool of him.
Of course it will. Put your back into it.
Why don't you come down here and put your back into it?
More flirting.
Get on the train.
Love that Bond seems annoyed by this, but also he knows he can do it. It's like saying, hey, Messi, score. He can, he will. That's what he's getting paid for, but you know, it'd be nice if he didn't always have to. Ah, who's the better agent now? Again.
And you're not nearly the agent I was, I can tell you that. It's called radio.
Tight call back, Silva.
Call the radio. I do hope that wasn't for me.
But that is.
And just an all-around solid bad guy setup line. And using a train to kill Bond is pretty much exactly what you want from a Bond villain.
So before you declare us irrelevant, ask yourselves, how safe do you feel?
And this line is a great bad guy line. M is the one saying it, but as Mathis said,
The villains and the heroes get all mixed up.
To find and not to yield.
Tennyson's words are wonderful, but I could listen to Dame Judi Dench read a cookbook. Dame Judi Dench is always a win. Look at that stoicism. Yup, into all of this. Even Mallory getting in on the action, Mallory taking a bullet for M, Tanner shielding M. Bond movies often have large casts, but they rarely get to have big scenes together like this, and I love it. Even more flirting. Also resourcefulness.
Time to get out in front, change the game.
And I'm to be the bait?
All right.
Goes to show she understands the job. She's not just willing to sacrifice her agents, she'll do what she has to do as well.
So much for my promising career in espionage.
Paddington has a Scrabble mug. I didn't think I could love him any more than I already did. I mean, the reveal, the sound cue. Even if you don't know that this is a classic Bond car, you now know that this is a classic Bond car. Once the theme kicks in, what can you even say?
Oh, go on then, eject me. See if I can.
These two. I'll never get tired of their quipping.
Confirm it with the traffic cameras.
But what if the PM finds out?
Them are all buggered.
My favorite reveal of this movie is that Mallory is actually a team player. Every time he's on screen, it furthers his softening.
Orphans always make the best recruits.
Oof. This piece of music is so haunting. It builds anticipation, yet has a finality to it with M staring off into space. Scottish Highlands, eh? Dang, should I move to the Scottish Highlands? I should definitely move to the Scottish Highlands. I sort of love that it's just the name of his childhood home. Sounds like a super weapon, or at least a threat. Adele sang a whole song about it, but it's a bit like naming the movie Cleveland. 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 Look out, James, it's a beautiful beard. Also, you said it wrong, Kincaid.
James Bond. They sold the lot to a collector from Idaho.
Stupid Americans ruining the Skyfall finale.
If all else fails, the old ways are the best.
Okay, Kincaid goes hard. Also backstab shadowing. Also sick bushcraft knife. I could do a whole separate video on how amazing everyone's clothes are once they get to Skyfall, including Silva, but instead, here, look.
This is not your fight.
Try and stop me, you jumped up little
Kincaid deserves his own movie. I'm just gonna say it. Dame Judi Dench can get it.
And like all great ladies, she still has her secret ways.
These two, flirting and vibing. M coming in hot with the guerrilla warfare skills, and obviously up preparing for the siege montage that would get Kevin McAllister to nod in approval is the fastest way to—
This up, didn't I?
Whoa, to get an F-bomb from M. And solid expectation subversion, giving M the only audible F-bomb in the Bond series. She's always so put together and talks about how regret is unprofessional, but here she is, pretty sure that they'll all be killed because of her, so what's the point of mincing words?
You ready?
I was ready before you were born, son.
His own movie.
Don't let it pull to the left.
I'll do my best.
What did you say you did for a living?
It's like these goons have never heard of Bond, James Bond.
Welcome to Scotland.
Politeness. You've been McAllister. There's probably some subtext for Bond tossing aside his father's prized engraved hunting rifle and picking up a random henchman's H&K 416, but really, just look at that move. That's what happens when you go after Bond's boss slash mentor, friend, mom. Maybe there's an Oedipus thing going on. Not only is this a weird and creepy entrance for Silva, but the song choice is on point. The Animals cover of John Lee Hooker's Boom Boom has lyrics like, "Gonna shoot you right down, take you in my arms, I'm in love with you," which are all the emotions Silva has for M. It's all mashed up there in a brutal PTSD soup that he thinks will go away when he finally kills her or marries her. I'm still unclear on his plan. So this is why you build houses out of stone. Badass bad guy. And not to be outdone, that's a badass good guy walk. After all, cool guys don't look at explosions. Please run away and start a life together, you two absolutely perfect humans. Just rude. Now you stepped in it, Silva.
I always hated this place.
When no one's around to hear you quip, you probably mean it. And Silva's actually scared and might still be in there. And that, children, is why we use a red light. We get several awesome silhouette shots, but this one is by far the coolest. Even with Silva stumbling, since the super bright fire behind him would make the ground hard to see. See what I mean? But okay, this one's pretty cool too. Nice. Nope. See, that's the sign you were looking for, James.
All this jumping and fighting, it's exhausting.
Hey, I said that last week, and I genuinely believe him with that delivery. Another epic reaction from Silva. He absolutely thinks Bond is way too dramatic and extra. Bond just can't seem to avoid these 100-foot deep bodies of water. Oh, right, they're in Scotland. Some locks are 1,000 feet deep.
It had to be this way. Thank you.
And here's that same piece of music from The Drive again, really haunting my soul as it closes the movie out. This moment is just so tragic. Both M and Silva are tormented by their past together, and now face to face in the quiet, Silva can't do what he's been wanting to do the whole film, so he's forcing M to do what his captors and the cyanide capsule couldn't. It's brutal. It's so well done. Not only did Bond use the knife that Kincaid suggested, but Kincaid said,
Sometimes the old ways are the best.
and Silva getting stabbed in the back is essentially his origin story. This movie's like a brick wall making company. It's got layers. That reaction. Silva is so annoyed that James continues to mess it all up. It's almost comical amidst a pretty grim scene, which is again kinda Silva's whole vibe. So yeah, Javier Bardem is always a win.
Last rat standing.
Got him.
I suppose it's too late to make a run for it.
Well, I'm game if you are.
Even approaching death, M's got jokes. Hugging. Hugging. What a send-off to a great character, with her last words reaffirming Bond as only a mother could.
I did get one thing right.
Her will was read today. She left you this.
Ha! Even posthumously, one more rib from M.
Oh, my name's Eve. Eve Moneypenny.
I really enjoyed this reveal, ending the movie right back where we started in 1962 in Dr. No. It's the same office with Moneypenny behind the desk. Ah, there it is. Took 3 movies to get James to be Bond. Skyfall, the one where Bond started quipping again. The one where he and M quip right up into her death and actually beyond it. He quips with Q and Moneypenny and even M 2.0. And each of them brings something great to this movie. Skyfall is a lot of people's favorite, and I like it. Really, I think it's great. Silva's plan is bonkers, but it's not much more far-fetched than the Joker's in The Dark Knight. It's actually very similar. In fact, there are quite a few similarities, right down to the way Silva throws these grenades so nonchalantly. But I'd never call Javier Bardem's performance a copy of Heath Ledger's. And I'll defend Silva's plan the same way I defended the Joker's. Just because we saw the events play out the way they did does not mean they were the plan. Silva's main goal was to hack MI6 and kill M. I get the feeling that most of what happened with Bond was just him showing off. I think his genius is having fail-safes and backup plans so that things were going to go his way regardless. And who better to pull that off than someone who used to be on the inside? And Javier Bardem truly embodies the quintessential Bond villain. Funny in an unhinged way, uber focused on the weirdest things, and also like broken and sad because there's truth in a lot of what he says and feels. M did betray him, and she pays the ultimate price for it this time. And let's be honest, in many ways, Skyfall is M's movie. M's choices are the crux for the storyline, the weight of which might have been too much for a lesser actor. But Dame Judi Dench rises to the challenge and even surpasses it. She elevates every scene she's in. I also love that this film doesn't shy away from the fact that Dench is getting older. M is a 5'1" septuagenarian, and the film is better for embracing that. It should be surprising to nobody that Dench is this good. Still, as I mentioned in previous videos, Dench makes me care about something that hasn't really mattered much in the Bond movies: acting. Some of the lines these top-notch actors have to say to each other are just the silliest things you've ever read. But Dench brings skill and class to these films. Ralph Fiennes is more than capable of taking the reins of the M moniker, but this franchise will be objectively worse off without Dench, especially given the way the Bond franchise generally treats women and Bond girls. Still, this one kind of takes the cake. It's just tone deaf. Maybe Bond fulfilling the prophecy from Green,
everything he touches seems to wither and die,
was starting to get to him. We know he was closed off at the end of Quantum of Solace, and it took M's death to really move him again and maybe bring him back to zero. Something to talk about more next week after Spectre, the one everyone loves. Yeah. All that said, this is a fantastic send-off to a beloved portrayal of a beloved character. And make no mistake, Dame Judi Dench can get it.
It's amazing the panic you can cause with a single computer.